Hey guys, Seek the Geek here with another PTCGL deck video. Not doing a gameplay for this one, kind of already did, but I may do more Twitch streams with it in the future. Um, More or less, this is the updated Zoro Kirlia box I came up with for the format moving forward. Basically, the format has changed quite a bit very recently after the last couple of regionals. It could even change more. This is the current version of the deck before the next set officially releases. It will change things further. The thing about Zoro box in general is that you really can't keep the same build for too long, because once the format changes, the old build's probably not good anymore, and you have to keep updating the build for how the format shifts and changes. Even the old school Braxian Serena variant is no longer really viable or good anymore, simply because Serena's just not a good supporter. Most players agree on that. So the deck has to change, more or less. Based on the last regional results, I had to change my deck as well. I've been playing it IRL in addition to online, and have noticed the changes myself. Mew has almost dropped off completely at this point. Mew is becoming a really hard deck to play in the format. There's a new contender as well that does what Mew does as well. So because of that, the amount of Marianas we're only playing one now, just in case you see a Mew, but chances are you probably won't, so that it limits the amount of bad cards. The other thing is that we needed a neutral attacker in the deck. One of the new contenders was Arceus Giratina. We can't hit Giratina for weakness, which is an issue for our deck. But in addition to that, Arceus Giratina doesn't really need that many cards on the field. Also, that deck was Guardy EX has the ability to just not play their cards to play around our cards, unfortunately. So while we are relying on Flapple's big damage with Acidic Mucus, Guardy can sit there with just one Guardy EX, and we can't kill it because we can only do 50 damage for Guardy EX, and they just keep their Ralts out, and they'll never evolve them up, and they'll just swing with that, or they can just swing with Zacian V. Because if they do that, then we're stuck with just 50 damage. I played several games where my opponent did that just to play around my abilities, and 50 damage isn't enough to get anywhere, unfortunately. And the pig isn't enough as well, because Arceus Giratina can just sit there with Arceus and Giratina by itself. They'll evolve into the Arceus V-Star, but after that, they'll just not do anything. They'll never evolve up the Giratina, and they'll also never really put down anything else on the field, because we can't one-shot any of their guys. So, because of that, there was a need for a neutral attacker in the deck. Also, we dropped Appleton down to 1, because Lugia isn't as relevant as it used to be. Lugia also was trying to play around the deck a lot by not putting all their energies into play right away, so Appleton loses its value as well. At this point in the format, Flapple can almost do as much damage as the Appleton, because Lugia V-Star will have Lugia V-Star itself with its ability, and then the two Archeops in play, which is 150 damage here, and then Appleton, they'll only have the 3 energy for their one attacker, and they won't put any more energy into play, which means that we're also capped at like 210. So, while Appleton is still doing more, we're not one-shotting anything, because they'll attack with the Lugia knowing that we can't kill it, and they get 2 free attacks off, so they get 2 prizes, and we only get the 2 prizes after we already lost our 2. So it becomes basically a back and forth who gets the first knockout, and their deck is going to get the first knockout in that scenario. So what changes have we made to the deck to help with that? Well, I mentioned neutral attackers. We need an attacker in the deck that can do its damage regardless of whether or not the opponent tries to play around us or not. So because of that, I am now playing the single strike Banette. It has the Resolute Spite attack for 1 energy, which is Psychic, which we're also playing. Put up to 7 damage counters on this Pokemon. This attack does 20 damage for each damage counter you place in this way. So it only lets you put enough to not knock it out, so I only have 10 HP left. But 7 times 2 is 14, so it'll do 140 damage. That's actually consistently good damage, where if Lugia plays around us, or more importantly, Arceus Giratina plays around us, we can still do 140 damage each turn with this Banette, the single strike Banette. That's still enough to two-shot a Lugia. It'll two-shot Arceus V-Star. It'll two-shot Giratina V-Star. That's important. Lugia can't really play around us as much as Arceus Giratina, so that's why Banette is now in here as in 2 copies. There are more 1 energy attackers in the format that are single prizers, but Banette right now works with the psychic energies that we're playing in the deck. There are some stage 2s that we can utilize as well if the format changes yet again, which it probably will after the next set comes out, Paldea Evolved. Nothing super great for this deck in particular in that set, but if the format changes, we will reassess and look at the set and see if there's anything that can be put in here that will make the deck better. To make the room for those, we dropped the 2 big Guardies. The big Guardies were useful, they did help, but we needed space in the deck, and space is very tight. People really aren't trying the Greninja turn 2 as much as they used to, so our Kirlias are kind of safe now. The Manaphy is still in here, plus we're playing 4 Claras, so you can always get the Manaphy back if you need it, if they start trying to build up a Greninja to hit our 2 Kirlias on the bench. So we just dropped the Gardevoirs to make the space for that, as well as the 1 Mighty and the 1 Appleton. We added 2 Boss's Orders. This card is just too useful right now. We have to play at least one of this. If we get our 1 big hit off on like a Guardi EX, a Lugia V-Star, a Giratina V-Star, the opponent will typically switch it out to the bench and just let it sit there, and they'll never switch it back into the active spot because they don't want it to get knocked out. Boss's Orders will help us grab that Pokemon back up and be able to hit it again and hopefully knock it out. Especially because we have Banette single strike in here now. That should be enough to finish off most of the V-Stars that are in the format. Guardi EX is still a little bit too beefy to hit the right numbers to knock it out, but being able to boss it back up, put damage on it, is still very, very important. I mean, 140 is still better than 50 if they just sit with the Guardi out or the Zacian. So we're still 2-shotting the Zacian V with Banette. We 3-shot the Guardi EX. Like I said, that's better than nothing. So we have to take it. We take what we can get in that matchup. Guardi EX is probably the hardest matchup for this build. This variant makes Arceus Giratina a little bit more manageable. It's not an easy matchup, but now it's a fair matchup for us, as well as Lugia V-Star, as those decks are trending upwards, and Mew and Lost Box are trending a little bit downwards. Lost Box is still very good, but our matchup is kind of even. We actually usually get the first attack in that matchup a lot of the times, but we have to maintain the pressure and keep getting the knockouts. They don't always have the Cramorant right away, and even if they do, they're just killing one of our random guys that we don't care about, and then we hit back the Cramorant to get rid of it. So we're still doing there. But that's all the changes I've made to the deck. I want to do a video on it to showcase that I'm still working on it. The build is still viable. It still works. There's still more guys like this in the format that benefit us. But Banette was really like something I had to really scour for to find. And it's like, oh, it uses the psychic energy. It's only a 1 energy attacker, and it can do 140, which is pretty good. I mean, only have 10 HP left, so... But that's fine because our guys are all low HP anyway, so they're usually getting knocked out in 1 hit anyway. So we don't care if we have to use Banette in that manner to put more damage on it to get the knockout if we need it. Obviously, it sucks if like Sableye comes out and puts damage on it, then Banette is really, really bad. But we're trying to get ahead before they get to the point where they can actually Sableye us, if at all possible. And we still have, Oinker in here to try to take 2 hits, maybe even 3 hits for us. So, to discourage the Sableye play. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the build. Nothing else has really changed. Still the same energy. added 2 more bosses, took out a Mighty Inna and an Appleton for the Banette, so we have a good neutral attacker we can use in that matchup. We're going to be seeing that deck a lot more unless it drops off. Paldea Evolve, it looks like it won't change too much for the format realistically. We do have a new contender in the form of Chien Pao, and how that's going to change things for the deck. We actually don't have a good steel attacker that's single prizer. That's 1 energy in the format. We really have none. So I'll have to reassess if that deck becomes tier 1. How do we deal with that deck? But that deck also plays a lot of abilities, so Flapple should still work pretty well for us. So I'm not too concerned about it, but that's something I'm also looking out for on the horizon with this build. But yep, that's it. Hope you guys liked the video. Comment, like, and subscribe. I do appreciate it. Any other comments that you'd like to make, just leave those down below. Like I said, I'm gonna be doing these videos more often. I'll also be doing more plays on PCCGL on Twitch, on my Twitch channel. I'll upload those when I do them. When my work schedule lightens up. My work schedule is still really bad right now, so I can't do these videos super often right now. But I appreciate all the support. Until the next video, I'll see you all next time. Thank you.